Hi, everyone, and welcome to Behind the Numbers. I'm Dave Bookbinder, and welcome back to the show where we dig deeper to understand what really matters most in business. And today we're going to dig deeper with Blaine Oelkers, who is America's only Chief Results Officer. Hey, Blaine, welcome to Behind the Numbers.
Hey, Dave, thank you so much for having me. An honor to be here. And I appreciate all the work you put into this show. And it's a great show. I hope people will dive deep, subscribe, and like. And I hope to add some value today for the
Well,
listeners.
I really appreciate you saying that. I didn't pay Blaine to say that, but thank you for that. Yeah, no, the show's growing in popularity, and I'm blessed for that. We're now in more than 100 countries with listeners, so all good. But enough about
Nice.
that. I want to get to you, but thank you. Let's dive in with first the title. You are America's only Chief Results Officer. What does that mean?
So what happened is I started working with mostly business owners, but mastermind groups, and I was helping them get results. And I've always been interested in kind of helping people take control of their lives by taking control of themselves, something I call self-fluence. And so I was doing that for some companies, and they were getting such good results. They said, Blaine, we're going to call you our Chief Results Officer. And I said, I like that title. And so I claimed that title from them. They gave it to me. And then what I did is I realized that no one else was really saying that. So I went to the U.S. Patent and Trademark Office and I registered for the patent, for, the service mark. So I have the R with the circle, registered trademark. So I am America's only Chief Results Officer because I haven't licensed it to anyone else. Maybe I'll do that someday, but right now it's just me.
Well, that's a fantastic title, and I want to explore how you earned that title. So let me start with maybe your TED Talk. So folks, if you haven't watched Blaine's TED Talk, I suggest you do that. I'll try and put that in the show notes, a link to it. But in the TED Talk, Blaine, you introduced something that you call WYTAYBA, which is an acronym for what you think about, you bring about. And it's the secrets to unlock the full power of your mind. Why don't you explain that to the audience and maybe touch on your TED Talk a little bit in the process?
Yeah. So it was a big goal of mine. It was kind of exciting and nerve-wracking at the same time. But if you get the opportunity to do a TED Talk, I'd highly recommend it. It's a great organization. They give you a coach person that kind of helps you with the talk, and it has to only be a certain number of minutes. Typically, has to be between, let's say, 10 and 18 minutes. The nerve-wracking part for the TED Talk for me was that you have to stand in this little red circle on the stage.
Right.
And I'm a little bit of a mover, walker, talker. So anyway, but I got the opportunity. Somebody submitted me for that, and I got this talk. And so they said, you have to talk about a big idea worth sharing. And so for me in my life, that biggest idea that was worth sharing was something that I call WYTAYBA. What you think about, you bring about. So there's a lot buried in there, and so it's a little bit. Sometimes people say, "Well, is that like the law of attraction?" I said, "Well, it's kind of like the law of attraction with action." And I tend to be a little bit more scientific based. My degree is in computer science from Purdue University, so I'm a little bit more logical science thinker. And so this idea, what you think about, you bring about, started for me. I got lucky actually back at Purdue. I saw this ad. Now maybe some of the listeners are like me, kind of a seeker. Like I want to learn stuff, I want to get better, I want to be better. And so I saw this ad for the reading of this book called Think and Grow Rich by Earl Nightingale. And so I came to love Earl Nightingale, actually. He became one of my mentors. But anyway, so I get this audio tape. So I'm dating myself back in the 80s. Get an audio tape, and I listen to this kind of this version. It was a shortened version of Think and Grow Rich. And I bought the book, I read the book, and it was there in college that I realized what you think about, you bring about. As a man thinketh in his heart, so is he, right? We become what we think about. That's actually the way Earl Nightingale kind of said it. And so what happened for me is I started along this journey of beginning to take control of my thoughts and studying it. And I'm like, there's got to be kind of some science behind this, right? It can't be like a total woo-woo thing, And so I started studying the science, and I realized that there's this thing called the reticular activating system. So in my TED Talk, I talk about that, and it's a back part of your brain here that actually is the gatekeeper for what is going to come into the conscious mind, kind of from the subconscious mind. So there's a part of your brain that is like doing 1,000 things right now. It's breathing, it's monitoring the the pH of your blood, all your organs, all your senses, all this stuff. You would go crazy if you had to think about all that stuff. So that all happens in the background. So what your brain decides, this reticular activating system, is the thing that allows stuff to come up to the top, right? So if you're in a crowded airport and your name comes over the speaker, you're going to hear that. Or you're in a crowded room and someone says your name, you hear that, right? That's where the RAS kicks in. In my TED talk, I talk about this story about my son. He bought an Acura TL. It was the first car he ever bought himself, and he's so happy. You see this big smile. He sends me these pictures. I had never seen that car before, ever. And then all of a sudden, for about the next 2 weeks, guess what happened? That car shows up, pulls up next to me. I drive by the Acura dealer. There it is, spinning on the turnstile out in front. I mean, it was a crazy thing, right? Were those cars always there? Yes, they were. But I wasn't tuned into it. And so people can usually kind of relate to that example. And so anyway, so I go on to talk about how that works and that it's something you got to take control of. And in my TED talk, I talk a little bit more about it being a garden. And so kind of if you don't plant anything in the garden of your mind, then the weeds grow or something bad could grow there, right? So it's up to you to kind of take control of that. But when you do, your life changes dramatically. So I tell some stories in there. And at the end of the TED talk, I don't want to give it all away, is I show you kind of an elegant way to program the RAS effortlessly, every day.
Yeah, and I'd like to try and unpack that just a little bit more, because I think everybody who's watching and listening is thinking, tell me how, right? So you mentioned this isn't the law of attraction, but as we talked before we went on the air, it sounds a lot like the thoughts become things, right? Maybe with a little sprinkling of the quantum physics and neuroscience that maybe a Joe Dispenza might bring in here. But tell us how, Blaine, if you can, the what you think about, you bring about. They always tell you, focus on the good stuff because you're going to manifest whatever you're thinking about.
Yeah. So what it is that scientifically, it kind of comes down to brain chemistry, really, in the end. And there's kind of, I call it the battle of the brain chemistry. But it's up to you to focus on what you want, right? Versus what you don't want. Now, if you focus on what you don't want, or you focus on nothing, then you're kind of stuck in the randomness of the world. You're stuck in the randomness of the world. But when you take control, of those dominant thought equals dominant behavior, when you take control of those thoughts and you begin to direct them. Now, you have to realize that in your brain, there's a lot of inputs, right? So originally, I thought we only had five senses. Then we had six, then we had seven, then we have eight. Now, some science, some research, I was doing a class in brain chemistry yesterday, and one organization shows 33 different senses into the brain. Anyway, that's a whole nother debate. But there's a lot of ways to get information to your brain, and as you take control of those, what happens is that directs your brain to decide what it's going to accept and pass on to you to take action on. Right. So all that's happening kind of on the brain chemistry level. But what's interesting, and one of the most important things I think that I realized in the last decade, and science and brain mapping and all this stuff is coming up to support that, is that literally your physical reality is based solely upon your thoughts. And so let me give you an example. I call this the lens of the future. But how the thoughts you hold, and what you're expecting, and the lens that you're looking at life through, I call it the lens of the future, that dictates your physical reality, right? So for example, if I said, Dave, look, I don't know how, but today's going to be kind of a bad day for you. I don't know. I got a weird feeling. I got a premonition. I got intuition. It's going to be a bad day. So that day, you got that in your mind, right? That's your lens. And you go out and you're starting to cross the street, and then you're almost hit by a car. Now, in that moment, in that circumstance of you almost being hit by the car, you go, oh, darn, that Blaine is right. This is a bad day. I was almost killed by that car, and you're going to be timid, and your physiology is going to be constricted, and you're going to be fearful, and you're going to be looking for the next bad thing, right? And so that's going to be your physical reality. That's going to be your brain chemistry. That's going to be your physical reality. Now, same day, same morning, I say, Dave, I don't know why, but you've got a guardian angel today. Something good. There's good things are going to happen to you today. Same day, same circumstance. Step out into the crosswalk. Here comes the car. You're almost hit by the car, but this time, because of your lens, because of your thoughts, because of what your brain is looking for, you say, darn that Blaine, he's right. I was spared. I was saved. The universe has more for me to do. I'm here. This is a great day. You're excited. Your physiology's up and excited, and you're having a great day, and you're looking for that next great thing. And all that was just simply the lens or the thoughts that you decided to focus on, and they show up. That's the way, that's kind of almost, and scientifically, the brain chemistry is creating that stuff, and the RAS is kind of controlling what comes up. And so that's how I see it. And I really, I take a mind shower every morning. Most people take a physical shower. I like to take a mind shower in the morning so that I can get that lens cleaned off, set right, and then I'm literally kind of creating my reality by what you think about, you bring about.
Yeah, Blaine, we're bumping up against a commercial here, but before we do that, tell the audience how they can connect with you if they want to learn more or if they want to work with you.
Yeah, the simplest thing is just go to BlaineTEDx.com. So BlaineTEDx.com. There you can sign up for my TED Talk. You'll get a transcript. We'll be connected. You'll have my email. And if I can help you in any way, I'd love to.
That's great. And on that note, we're going to pause here. Blaine, you sit tight. Don't go anywhere. You watching and listening. We will be right back after this quick break.
Hi, this is Chris Wilhelm, and I'm excited to be bringing you a new show this spring on RVN Television called All Things South Jersey. Well, we'll be taking a look at people who have made South Jersey their home, as well as a look at our boroughs, our towns, and our cities. The show will air on Wednesdays and Saturdays at 2:30, and if you're not available, you can pull it up on RVN Television platform on demand, as well as Roku, Apple TV, and Fire Stick. Hope to see you soon.
I love that we both got an awesome network and save money doing it.
I know, $25. I love that it's guaranteed for 3 years.
Hey, we're sitting on a sign here.
Switch and get Welcome Unlimited for $25 a line, guaranteed for 3 years. Verizon.
There's an old expression in business that you can't manage what you can't measure. Business performance and business valuation, it's all measured by the numbers. But I've learned that the real lessons and the tough decisions that are made occur behind the numbers. My name is Dave Bookbinder. Join me and my guests as we go behind the numbers to understand what really matters most in business.
Hi, I'm Darlene,
And I'm Joe, and we're your new hosts at Let's Talk on RVN Television.
and we're going to have a really exciting and fun-filled show with guests in every walk of life.
So join us every Thursday afternoon at 2 o'clock and every Friday evening at 5:30.
So see you then.
Oh, okay. Easy does it.
We switched to Liberty Mutual and saved $652. They customize your car insurance, so you only pay for what you need. With the money we saved, we thought we'd try electric unicycles. Careful, babe. Saving was definitely easier.
Hey, babe, I think I got it. It's actually...
Okay, show off. Oh. Only pay for what you need.
And welcome back to Behind the Numbers. I'm Dave Bookbinder, and today we're talking about WYTAYBA, what you think about, you bring about, with America's only Chief Results Officer, Blaine Oelkers. Blaine, welcome back for round two here. I want to kind of continue on where we'd left off before we had to take a commercial break. And I was scribbling frantically here about different things that popped into my head as you were talking about how the WYTAYBA process works. And one of the things I wrote down was vibration, because Esther Hicks talks about controlling your vibration, and that's how you attract. It's more law of attraction sort of thing, but manifesting your reality. And others have said that based on what you're experiencing in your reality now, that's your indication for what you've been thinking. So change your thinking. Talk to us about literally, like, what is the process? Do we have to go into meditation for this? How long does it take to work? Give us a hack, give us a tip on how we can do this today.
Yeah, sure. And this, this idea of frequency, vibration, frequency and feelings, intuition, you can walk into a room, right, and you can sense different things, right? Dogs and babies are really good at this. But the science, the cool thing is that the science is starting to catch up. and realizing and being able to measure that everybody has kind of a field of frequency, and that our brains are kind of putting out frequencies and receiving frequencies. And so, you want to tap into that stuff, and you want to, what I like to say, try to hang around high frequency people that you feel inspired, lifted up, right? There's low frequency people too that kind of bring you down, and lower, how you feel even about yourself. So be on guard. The number one thing that you can do is awareness, right? So awareness of what are your thoughts, where are your thoughts taking you, and on a daily basis, trying to make sure you focus on what you want and not on what you don't want, right? So you got to focus on what you want so much that it kind of drowns out what you don't want. Now, if you think about what you don't want, then that's the stuff that's going to come in, right? And if your self-talk is in the wrong direction, that's going to be bad as well. I like to start. So a couple of tips and tricks. So first of all, the mornings are key. So there's two times. At night, your brain is going to work to put things in filing cabinets and take all the data from the day and kind of think it and place it out. When you have your dreams, it's trying to sort out the day, right? So right before you go to bed is a great time to think about, because the subconscious is going to go to work, is to think about the things you want. The second time, best time, is in the morning. And so when you first wake up, we live our lives in days. That first time that you wake up is when you want to kind of set that I call it the lens of the future, but focus on the things you want to bring into your life, right? So what you think about, you bring about. Now, the you bring about means that when your mind, when the when the universe, gives you an action step to take, you got to take it, right? So WYTAYBA has an action component. So it's what you think about, you bring it about. So you lean in that direction, you walk in that direction, you go in that direction. But setting that up in the morning, I do that with a mind shower, and I habit link, I call this habit linking. I habit link those dominant thoughts that I want to different things throughout my day. So if you think about your day, one is, the first thing I do is I open up my phone, my smartphone. So for me, on my smartphone, I moved all the apps off the homepage, and I just have a Bible app and a meditation app called Headspace, and I start with the thoughts. So before the world gets me, before I look at my email or the news or my investment portfolio or all that stuff, I have to spend some time in those thoughts about what I really want to bring about. And then it's up to you how far you want to go past that. Some people will do, every time I eat a piece of food, I'm going to think about that big dominant thought. I call it your bring about statement, right? What you're trying to bring about. And so I write my bring about statement every day. I write my bring about statement out. Now, if you can, you could type it out, or you could just have it on a piece of paper. But there's something in your brain, the wiring of your brain, when you write out your bring about statement every single day, it has more power. Now, if you can write it, you might have to go look up how to do this, but if you write it in cursive, it has even, it has a different power, right? So some days I write it in cursive. Other days, if you try to write it with your non-dominant hand, right, that acts as a different part of your brain. So there's lots of fun ways. If you get really good at writing it, then you could write it, looking in a mirror, where you have to actually do it backwards. Anyway, that's super advanced. But just know that those things, all that stuff helps, right? Being around high frequency people, but you reminding yourself what you want is probably the biggest thing. And in the morning and at night are the best.
Yeah, and those reminders, Blaine, do they have to be specific goals, or is it okay to go general, that what you're looking for is happiness and abundance, recognizing that if you go broadly like that, everything else will fall in place, including the job, the relationship, getting the good parking space, what have you?
Yeah, so great point. So coming up with a generalization like, I want to be happy, is good, and that's better than nothing, not doing anything. But the more specific you get, the more dialed in the RAS gets, right? So if you say, well, I want to be happy, and you move that to be, I want to be happy today, and you move that to, I want to laugh, I want to belly laugh 3 times today, right? I want a good belly laugh 3 times today. Then, the RAS gets more and more dialed in to find that thing that you want, right? And so what'll happen is you're just by saying that, you're going to look for opportunities. I'll even say, let's go, you want a good belly laugh today. So now everyone who's listening to this show, think about that. Somewhere in your day, just say to something like, I want a good belly laugh today. Something's going to come along and give you that belly laugh. Now, if the universe doesn't provide, and it's something you want to do on a regular basis, like I do like belly laughing, is that I've created in my phone a note. I have an iPhone. There's a notes app, and in there I have links to videos that I don't know why, but I watch them and I get the belly laugh, even if it's the 100th time I'm watching it. Right? There's some Laurel and Hardy stuff. There's babies giggling. I mean, there's people that make mistakes, and it's just kind of funny. So anyway, there are ways to do that, but getting more specific does help your brain, your RAS, to kind of dial it in.
Yeah, and anybody who's just the least bit skeptical, I would just ask you to think about the last time you thought of a person, and then lo and behold, you hear from them or get an email from them or something like that. This stuff happens. Blaine, I want to jump into head trash here. So your advice is about focusing on what you do want to bring about. Try and stay away from the negative. But so many of us have the head trash thing where we're focused in a loop that's negative. How do we break that cycle so that we can move into more of those positive things?
Yeah, that is the number one thing people say if they're honest, when they start to use WYTAYBA. What you think about, you bring about. Like, Blaine, I'm thinking about all my faults. I'm thinking about all the problems I have. I think about all the worries I have. And all that stuff can cloud over and basically take over the RAS, right? So that when you say that, I'm always broke. You're always going to be broke, because that's what the RAS is looking for. Oh, let me show you how broke you are, right? And over and over and over again. So you have to figure out ways to, I call, hack your head trash. Take the head trash out. And let me quickly give two tools. One is like an immediate, like in the moment tool. And then another one is a little bit more, kind of proactive way to do it. So the first one that I like, this is my favorite tool for hacking head trash, is simply to spin your brain around to start working for you instead of against you. Right. So, and this works for head trash and limiting beliefs. I have one right now today. I never have enough time. I never have enough time. Now, when you argue for your limitations, you get to keep them, right? So if I keep saying I don't have enough time, I don't have time, that's what's going to show up. And the way you flip that is, the moment you have that thought, I don't have enough time, you simply use two words, which is yeah, but. And when you say that, your brain goes the other side looking for the answer. Now, you can yeah, but yourself, which you should start with. Then you can let other people, like I let my family and friends yeah, but me when I'm saying things that are limiting. But I say, I never have enough time. Yeah, but you control your schedule, Blaine. Yeah, but you can wake up anytime you want. Yeah, but you can delegate. Yeah, but you can say no more, Blaine. That word no is in your vocabulary. And so all these answers come up that I can begin to take action on. And when you take action on those yeah buts, you're going to feel better. The battle of brain chemicals, you just kind of turned the ship there, and you're going to be flooded with good brain chemicals, and you're going to find it easier to move on. So that's a kind of in the fix, right in the moment. A longer term solution, I like to say the solution to pollution is dilution, right? So back in chemistry class, you had the beaker of the dark liquid, and you pour water or clear liquid in. And if you pour it, it gets clearer and clearer and clear. If you pour enough clear liquid in, it returns to clear, right? And the same thing with the head trash and your brain is you're pummeled by head trash all day long, yourself, social media, news media. And so you got to pour in the positive, right? You got to pour in the pot, and you got to over pour. Now back, when I'm coming out of college and all kinds of things are happening, I might need a 5-to-1 ratio. So if I have an hour of a pity party and an hour of head trash, I might need 5 hours of Jim Rohn or Earl Nightingale to pour in to get me back to neutral, Now today, I'm probably down to 1-to-1, or maybe even half to 1. If I have an hour pity party, literally 30 minutes of Jim Rohn can pull me right out of that. But pouring in the positive, so yeah, butting yourself, and then pouring in the positive. And that positive can be mentors, that can be high frequency people, that can be meditation, anything that's positive. Reading certain books that might do that for you, but pouring in the positive to kind of keep it at bay. And the third bonus one is, I mentioned earlier, is the mind shower. Really in the morning, setting aside some time to kind of clean out your mind, wash your mind out. You do that to your body every day, but most people don't do it for the mind.
Blaine, 60 seconds, you're on the clock here, but I want to sneak in one last thing. The importance of belief. When we talk about this head trash and then taking the mind shower and focusing on the positive, a lot of times we but ourselves when we're saying, yeah, I want to be this, I want to have that, but I really don't believe in this. Talk about the power of belief, 60 seconds.
Yeah, you got to have belief and conceive, believe, achieve, right? That is the famous thing from Think and Grow Rich. But you got to build that belief and you got to look for the belief, right? So you want to WYTAYBA the belief, right? And the belief can come from your past. Look back for where you succeeded, where you did the right things, where you made things happen, right? In the moment, right now, say, you know what? I'm going to take that task that I don't believe I can do. I'm going to chunk it down into some little doable steps that I can make some progress on, right? And then, so you got the past, the present, and then the future. Look out into the future, visualize yourself, see yourself there, and then begin to move in that. So you can build that belief. Faith and belief can be built by looking at the past for the good stuff, in the present moment, taking a small step in the right direction, and then visualizing the future. That's awesome. Really good stuff, Blaine. Thank you so much for joining us today. Unfortunately, we are out of time. I wish we had more time. Yeah, but that's it. I don't control the show here. So thank you for joining us, Blaine. All right, thank you so much. And the bad news is time flies. The good news, you're the pilot. So pilot well, my friends. That's a tweetable moment for everyone. Thank you. We've been talking with Blaine Oelkers today about WYTAYBA, or what you think about, you bring about. Blaine is America's only Chief Results Officer. Do check him out. Check out his TED Talk. There's a lot of good information there on his website as well. My name is Dave Bookbinder, and I'm the one that my clients turn to when they want to know what their most important assets are worth. Please reach out. You can always find me on LinkedIn. I'm always happy to have a conversation. Big thanks to the folks in the production studio here back in the booth. Thank you guys for making the show go smoothly. And thank you out there for watching and listening. Can't do it without you. As I mentioned at the top of the show, we are now listened to in 100 plus countries. So thank you for your support. We drop a show every week. Subscribe and stay in touch with all that we're up to. We will see you next time on Behind the Numbers. Take care, everybody.